You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
All right, good evening and welcome to the Brantford Board of Fire Commissioners meeting, November 21st, 2019. Call the meeting to order at 7:12. First off, we will have a approval of the meeting minutes of September 26th.
Move the approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Objections? Okay. We have attached to our thing is going to be our schedule for our 2020.
Yes.
Well, that seems like weird to say that, right?
Right.
But our meeting agenda, so everything's all set out for us. All the way from January through December of 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, discussion?
Second.
Second, I'm sorry, second, yep,
One ahead of us, Bob.
yep. Thinking about 2020 already here now,
Yeah.
so, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approved. Finance, Commissioner Riccio?
There's no transfers at this time, but we did receive a $138,000 in Safer Grant disbursement, representing 70% of our first quarter expenses, correct, Chief?
That's correct.
That's good.
Remember that the grant provides for 75% reimbursement for first 2 years. So that represents our first quarter expenses.
For the firemen before.
Good. Good job. It's been working out good too, Chief, right? Yeah.
We couldn't do it without
I
him.
know.
Matter of fact, Chief Bloomquist was remarking today that he doesn't know how we're getting by without him, considering the call volume. So.
Yeah. So.
Just that one guy helps.
It's actually it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
actually
two. I'm sorry,
It's
two
actually
per
two per
shift,
shift, yeah. It helps, yeah.
Yeah.
Personnel, so we still have firefighter Kari has retired, so his vacancy is still there.
Yes.
So we
When
still
will we be?
So the statewide consortium list is still valid until July. Sean and I are discussing the best way to identify any people who have changed. Remember, the part of that list had paramedics, and but there was no way to identify who was in paramedic school that wasn't a paramedic yet.
Right, yeah.
So we're thinking about just emailing the whole list and seeing which candidates are available. Because I do know that there are candidates that are finishing up in various classes throughout the state. So otherwise, we would run our own tests, but I don't believe it's appropriate to do that until this list is exhausted.
Yeah.
Okay, Mackenzie's firefighter, Mackenzie Spooner, has received her NEM...
Her national paramedic license.
Didn't get paramedic license.
We should
She's currently working on her medical control, so that's a good thing. Tyler Mahoney graduates from medic school in 2019 and beginning his final medical control. And Dante Giroli III and Eric, I'm going to get this name wrong, but I always get it wrong, Truslix,
DeRusso.
and I'm pretty close, and Riley O'Donnell have begun their first semester at Capital Community for paramedic,
Good.
Now, where's Capitol?
Hartford.
Hartford. Yeah.
So we've been sending our students, when we send someone, we're sending them to Capital. We started that when the other program was in a little bit of disarray, and we find that we have really great success with them. And when they're done with it, these guys only need a few more credits and they'll have an associate's degree.
I think it's
So
been 8 years now, I
you know,
think. Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Wow.
Could even be 10. It's been a while.
Never had, knock on wood,
Capital, yeah,
anybody
yeah.
not
Not
get
Yeah.
through and have no problems,
Getting
moving
control
forward.
after
So
they do, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's been smoother.
Yep.
much smoother.
Yep. Training, Commissioner Clem?
Training, okay, as usual, we're busy. We did have the burn trailer here for a month, although I understand it's still here.
Yes, it is. I just drove by it.
Got a flat tire, it's stuck.
Yeah.
Just gonna shut the hallway door.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were here, we had it here, and everybody got a chance to train on it. I came up one evening just to watch. It is fascinating, it really is. I was here a few years back, and I took a tour inside the thing, not when the smoke was coming
Yeah.
out, but it's too bad that, and I had called Deputy Chief Bloomsquist, our training officer, to find out, is this the only one that the state has?
The burn trailer?
The burn
This trailer belongs to
New Haven
Region
region.
2, which is the 22 towns in the, basically from Milford to the valley out to the Connecticut River is Region 2.
Okay.
And it's an asset of Region 2,
yeah,
which is part of the Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management. So it's shared on a rotating basis
Yes.
among the departments.
Because I
And there
mentioned-
is only one, yes.
Yeah, and I mentioned to him, I said, it's, I don't know what this thing cost. I'm sure it does cost a few dollars, but we have to wait for a year before we get it back again.
So our other options are North Branford is always available to us through their good graces, and as is New Haven, but that requires our personnel to travel out of town and
Yes.
plan. And at some point, it would be really great if we could identify a place to have our own.
Right, yeah,
Which we tried before,
Yeah.
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 And we had some local businesses willing to help us with that, yeah,
Okay.
to put up a unit.
There's a lot of great training buildings that are being made out of the intermodal trailers, the actual burn buildings. Matter of fact, we're going to travel to Essex to see theirs because I've heard really great things about it, and it's relatively low cost. So that may be something that we bring back in the future and run it by you guys and see what you think. And if you think it's something that's viable, then we might move forward with some type of fundraising.
I saw that one.
Right.
That's
Did you
theirs?
see it?
Yeah,
That's
I did,
theirs,
yeah,
yeah.
that's theirs. Oh,
I've
I
heard
didn't
really
know
great
that.
things about
So
it.
what are they using, metal containers? Shipping
Yeah,
containers?
yeah, they are
containers.
shipping
Oh, wow.
containers, yeah. I didn't realize that.
And the way that they're configured in the cribs that they use for the burn, the
Yeah.
heat distributed, it feels more like even some of these very expensive fancy burn buildings, like a
Really?
real fire. So something we're interested in going to look at.
Yeah,
And training was conducted at the old carriage shop, which is down Route 1 here. The building is being demolished, so we were able to use it for two nights.
It's gone.
It's gone.
it's already gone, yeah, so
Less than a week.
Mr. Alvine, we thank him for that. And
And we
yeah.
had 4 volunteers who received advanced extrication training at the New Haven Training Center. 7 members completed their Q driver's license training. Physicals are taking place now. And online training, there's all types of online training that you can do, and the guys and the ladies do it. Okay, and firefighter Massey was signed off on Engine 1 operator, and firefighter Fig was signed off as Rescue 1 operator. So we're moving along. We're good.
All of our newer employees are
Coming up to speed.
coming up to speed.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
That's it.
Apparatus, Commissioner LaCroy.
Ongoing preventative maintenance continues. Firefighter Giroli continues to do a great job with that, replacing light bulbs, and which I don't mean to really, when I say light bulbs, it really minimizes it. Firefighter Giroli does an amazing job. He's highly trained. In fact, he's had some special training for pump repair, et cetera, and he really does a great job with all of that.
There's just about nothing that
Does
he
everything.
really can't do anymore.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's built that program up. Just got back from one of the manufacturer-specific training in Chicago, where he was there to learn specifics of pumps, and that training gets him his emergency vehicle technician certification, which he needs to work on him. Keeps the liability off and make sure. And then we double check things by sending them to an outside vendor for their annual DOT checks. And it's kind of a checks and balances where Danny does the bulk of the work on them, including the brakes now, and he's fully certified to do so. And just I feel a little peace of mind by sending up
The ladder truck alone.
everything.
Yes,
comes
it's a
in.
second check to.
Yeah.
So some of the major, testing stuff like the ladder and some of the major pumps we still send out. It all depends on time, but it's fantastic.
I think some of the bolts you just did on the ladder truck alone, that saves a lot of money.
There was a time when I gave this report several years ago before firefighter Giroli was doing all this work, and I was mentioning a vendor's name that was here probably every other day changing light bulbs. And the reason I mention that is we're no longer paying a vendor to do that.
To change light bulbs.
And did a good job keeping our budget in check. We thank them for that.
Yeah.
It's big. Did a good job.
Huge.
Onward, the Rescue 2, the new Rescue 2 is ready for a body mount.
So this is the body, Commissioner. That's what you were
Oh,
looking
that's
at
what
before.
that
So
is.
the pictures aren't great, but
Oh my God.
they build just the box, and then once it's built,
Can you ask
they
us
give it
if
its
that's-
first paint, and it'll get mounted to the chassis,
Chassis, okay.
and then it'll go through and
Measured twice, right?
They get mounted.
Cut once.
get finished doors, shelving, all the wiring and everything will go
It
through.
looks so different.
I wanted you to see that picture now, so that when the
Oh, when it comes, when it shows up.
It's the before and after.
Yeah, before, not the dumpster there, so.
Yeah, when you said it's got a dumpster, he said
Did they
yes.
not retire? I thought you were
kind of looks like it.
putting that to rest. And Chief, could you just clarify for us, Rescue 2? So the original, Commissioner Massey and I are just discussing this. We're a little confused.
Just scratching my head a minute here. This is Rescue 2's chassis?
It's Rescue 2's body.
Oh, okay, the body.
Body,
Oh.
yes.
Chassis,
See,
getting a new
see the
chassis.
wheel well?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
down
yeah,
there?
yeah,
Look
yeah.
down.
Yeah,
See
did
the
I
wheel?
say
yeah,
chassis?
yeah.
That might have been my fault if I said chassis. It's
No,
the
you
body.
didn't. You said the box.
Yeah.
In any event, the completed vehicle is due for delivery here in March.
I look at the backdrop, that's what I was looking at. I'm
2020.
trying to figure this out.
It'll
Okay.
be very similar to Rescue 5.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, all right.
that-
Now I
yeah.
understand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, they can do that, huh? Wow.
So it's not Medic 2,
And what
it's
chassis is it
Rescue
going on?
only.
No, so we
Rescue
have all the smalls are getting done right now. So we have Rescue 2, and then I'm sure Commissioner, you were going to talk about
Yep.
Medic 2. That was ordered from and is due. Everything's due in March.
So are we getting a new chassis for Rescue 2?
Brand new
Oh.
cabin. Yeah, it's a brand new truck.
Oh, it's a brand
Yeah,
new
it's
truck.
brand-
Everything's brand
What
new.
what chassis have
You
we
guys are
selected for
confusing
that?
me over here.
That's a Ford
I'm saying,
F-350
how do you put that on a
extended crew cab.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Yeah,
double
okay.
door. It has the suicide doors and the rear space, which actually has seating.
Right.
You can. We're taking the double seat out, and they're making that for the medical stuff that has to stay in a heated
it's gotta be
environment.
heated, yeah.
So that'll be
Gotcha.
on one side, but they're keeping the third seat. So if you do have to pick up somebody or have
Gotcha.
a rider or something, you can
Okay.
have them. So
That's good, thanks.
Do you want to say what suicide doors are?
they open opposite.
The opposite
you know,
side.
your car doors usually open
Yeah.
this way.
So you don't
They used to
swing out
open
the
opposite.
traffic,
It
yeah.
used to be you swing out and it blocked the traffic, so you couldn't see it coming. And
So will
Okay.
TAC 6 come the same way, type of package?
so Tax 6 is Tax 6 and Car 15 are similar vehicles, although Tax 6, because of the weight it has to carry with the water weight from
Yeah.
the tank,
Yeah.
is a F450, and Car 15 will be a 350.
Okay.
Car 15 is coming with an aluminum redding body
Yeah.
because of the salt it has.
Yeah, yeah.
That's about a $3,000 upcharge
it's worth it,
for
though.
the body.
Right.
Whereas now that Tax 6 will be stored inside,
Yeah.
we went with a steel redding body. So it's just a Ford cabin chassis with the redding body on it, which has the outside compartments. This is a custom body that's being built for the rescue truck. And then the skid will go inside that, and for Car 15, it will just be a cargo area unless we put the salt spreader in it.
Question for you, how do you decide just to do the body, not the chassis?
So in this particular case, for the rescue truck, that's how a custom truck is built. They buy a commercial cabin chassis and then they have to build the body themselves. So when I have earlier pictures of this where you'll just see a square bunch of aluminum framing, and that was the beginning of the box. And they just build it up. Once the box is all done, this box will get mounted on the cabin chassis,
Yes.
and then they'll complete the wiring, they'll complete the shelving, they'll complete the all the custom doors. Whereas like the smaller trucks, we just buy those. They come as a package, you know.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same concept. The body comes from Hartford Truck. It's a Reading body. Reading's a a commercial box, like they build plumbers trucks and that kind of thing. And it's perfectly adequate for that application. Whereas some of the other stuff, it needs to be a little bit more robust. It's a little more customizable to our needs. So we build those custom. The ambulance, the same thing. It's a Ford cabin chassis. It's an E450 cabin chassis. It's the same gas V10 that we've been buying, and but yet the rest of it is completely built from the ground up. I think last meeting I mentioned Danny and I went to the factory, and we were able to see everything from the engineering drawings all the way through final paint and fit and finish, but everything in between. So when you walk in, the first thing you see is a bunch of wiring harnesses, and they literally build the wiring harnesses from a schematic, and it goes to these different stations. And as it moves on, someone starts building the box, someone starts building the cabinetry, and then they start putting it all together.
Ports
It's really
and all
cool.
goes together, yeah.
So
Now, do we tell the company what we want specifically within?
right. So what we've mostly been doing for a lot of our vehicles, and the focus of this meeting, if you haven't figured it out tonight, is really the apparatus. A lot of departments highly customize their fire apparatus. They sit down with their kind of preferred vendor or a vendor, and they come up with a spec with their wish list. The more you customize a vehicle, the more expensive the vehicle is. And we sit down and we look and say, this is our spec, this is the Brantford spec, this is what we want for an engine 1, this is what we want for an engine 5, depending on what the mission of that particular piece of apparatus is. And what we've been doing is, if we find a manufacturer that's got a quality piece of apparatus, and lately it's been either Pierce Manufacturing or Smeal Spartan, and Sutphin in the past. Those are all very quality manufacturers. We don't always just stick with one. We stick with the one that's going to give us the best value for what we want. And most of them, again, bringing in a demonstrator that they have, and if it meets 90% of what we're looking for, and we can,
Works for us.
the rest of the stuff was, well, we'd really like it this way, but this will work. That's what we've been buying. We've been getting a much better deal for the tax.
Yeah, it's important to mention that we've saved quite a bit of money over the years doing that.
I'll give you a perfect example. I won't name the towns, but we purchased the Pierce Puck, which is engine 1. The same time as one of our neighbors was buying the same truck. They customized it, highly customized it, almost $200,000 more.
We did that with the aerial truck. We saved over $300,000 when we bought the aerial truck, yeah.
Yeah, we've done it the last couple of purchases, haven't we?
Unless
Been able to
So-
for us.
Yeah, yeah,
So the
Plus the hamburgers.
yes.
Commissioner, I don't want to steal your thunder,
that's
but
But I'm gonna.
the ambulance that's due in March as well, that's being built custom, but this is the schematic. You all have this in your
Right.
package. So this is a new manufacturer for us, but it's very similar to the units we've been buying in the past. And I think it's important to mention that the cost of these units have gone up quite a bit,
Significantly, yeah.
considering the safety features that are in them now. And I had gone down with Danny to look at the manufacturer, and we had gone down to look at their kind of, cookie cutter model. And, we had the one we've been buying, we had the cookie cutter, and we had one that was something we had previously purchased, but we started to go down a little bit. And I had all three of them right there, and I had intended to go down there to buy the cheap model. And I looked at it and I said, Danny and I were like, well, we could do this, we could make this work. And right there I said, we could make this work. We're not here to make this work. We need units that are going to complete the mission for the Brantford citizens And if you look at these maintenance things, all of our ambulances right now, except for Medic One, have over 100,000 miles on them. These things run constantly. And, you know, it could be a ride from Stony Creek all the way to Yale, and we want a smooth ride. You're not going to get bounced around and jarred in the back of these ambulances. The other thing was the seatbelt and the safety features for the crew. Historically, we've just put the crew in the back with no seatbelts. The patient in, you know, a stretcher with like a lap belt on, and if that thing gets in an accident, very bad injuries usually occur. We've had some of that experience out here where we got really lucky, but one of our counterparts from West Haven weren't. And so the safety features in this ambulance are much greater. And so I couldn't, in good conscience, say, you know what, let's just buy this model because it'll save money.
Makes complete sense.
So
Chief.
we're talking, you know, if we were to buy this without the deal we got custom with the stretcher mount and the stretcher, that option alone's $38,000. The ambulances are running up in $230,000. That's how much they cost these days. So, but we use it. We get our money's worth out of them. By the time we get rid of them, they're well used.
Yeah.
These ambulances and the trucks, they just go around the clock. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
If anybody ever can't sleep and you want to listen, listen. They go. They do. You know?
Well, it seems to me, and this was even before your time, was one of the first ambulances I think we
Well,
ordered.
I've been here for 40 years as
Quiet.
active now. I mean, I think you're younger than me now in this room.
I'm thinking, and I'd have to go back through my paperwork, but I think one of the ambulances that we ordered was something like $80,000. I mean, this was not
It was a
long after
Cadillac,
we
that's
took-
why.
We took them.
I think the first one that I
It was like-
spec'd out 16 years ago was about 120,000.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
what I remember.
I know,
too.
yeah.
Changed a lot.
But we didn't.
I served
we didn't
on the
strap.
Cadillac.
I remember
Anybody else?
asking
You know,
them the first time I went inside one of the ambulances.
Al, you ever serve on the Cadillac?
Right, right.
Huh?
When I worked here,
You remember
we
those?
didn't use Cadillac.
Oh, we had them. I remember. Yeah.
We didn't use them then.
Yeah. It was the Cadillac.
Changed a lot.
And then lastly, we've been looking at the replacement for the new Engine 5. This is both Spartan and Pierce have demonstrator trucks that have been evaluated, each in the $500,000 price range. Are we planning on retaining the old Engine 5? That's pretty old, actually, that vehicle.
No, I would
isn't it?
not.
28
I would
years
not
old.
recommend it even as a
Yeah.
spare. It's
Yeah.
going to be 28 years old by the time this is
Yeah.
Oh
done.
my God, is it that long? Oh, jeez.
It's come. The questions come up through the elected officials.
I
right?
might as well. I
Yeah.
might as well put on the table. So I think in the past that every new engine, it's no disrespect to any outlying districts, but every new pumper should come through headquarters first. It gets tested and approved, then it gets moved out to an outlying district. We're not going to build fire engines unless we have to, fit in firehouses, because they all should pretty much fit. But I think we really have to think about doing the right thing, and everything comes to headquarters first. It may come here for 1 year, 8 months, then it gets moved out to a district first, because this is gonna get tested and approved here at first at headquarters, and then moved out. And I mean, Stony Creek is gone, this truck, this is the hand-me-down for engine 1. This truck is, what, 28 years now, Chief?
That's what he just said.
It's an old-time truck, and I understand that people are gonna feel upset, but it's gonna be the same for every other company out there, that everything should come through headquarters first. If it comes here for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, then it gets moved out to a district firehouse,
The
you know?
Well, it gets more regular use here.
Yeah, exactly.
In this case, I think it's important to keep in mind the overall apparatus replacement schedule, as well as where all those more expensive, like Engine 2, Engine 4, Rescue 1, and Engine 9, were all purchased. We're coming up to that time frame in the next 7 years. So Engine 1's due to in 24. And then right after that, Engine 2, Engine 4, Engine 9. So it would be my recommendation, that this purchase be a specific purchase, because we can buy, Engine 1's a much more expensive piece of apparatus. Its mission is much greater because it's a town-wide piece. It's a rescue
It has
engine.
paramedic on it.
It's got the paramedic
Yeah.
equipment, so it's purchase is greater. And because what we need to start to do is, and if we purchase an engine 5 just for engine 5 right now, if we do that, that'll take care of that. It's a less expensive piece of apparatus because they have a Rescue 5. They don't need to carry everything on the engine. But then it'll allow us to start to spread out that purchasing of volunteer pieces where we could purchase an engine 1, have a reliable spare to engine 1, and then also start pushing them out to the less busy companies. So that would be my recommendation, that we kind of continue along to get to that point where it's feasible to actually start to get back into that. And it's going to be tight for that time frame, because if you look at the schedule, that we were given $225,000 in our capital account towards apparatus this year. Historically, they've cut a little bit from apparatus. If we're asking for 75, we'll get 50, and they are very good about making sure everybody gets what they need when they need it. But it's a sinking fund. If you look at that fund, we're going to need at least 250 to 300 this year to even make this work, and then the next year we come into a pretty good cycle where that money, and I've been warning about it since I started.
Yeah.
So I think we need to really look at that, maybe even a subcommittee to say, hey, how do we make this happen?
Look at that. But I think we look at the trucks and these things look brand new, but they're not. The technology's changed. They're 28 years old.
Yeah.
So the safety features have changed. Technology's changed. So you're going on a truck and apparatus anymore that's not really.
Engine 5 still has
Yeah.
lap belts.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even shoulder belts.
Yeah,
and
not even shoulder.
The apparatus that we
You know the
had,
difference, lap and shoulder. So
Yeah.
the apparatus we
Yeah,
demonstrated
so-
had rollover bars, they had airbags,
Yep.
they had harnesses. So
All right, how do we get our information across to the Board of Finance and the RTM on this? Because, putting aside 300,000 every year,
well,
that's
we
a lot
have-
of money to
we do-
them,
we
but
do-
How
we
do
have
we
a,
sell this?
we-
How do we sell
No,
it?
we have a
We have the
vehicle
plan.
replacement
Okay.
plan already.
But we don't want them to take any money away from it, though.
No, so typically I will, work with. So here's kind of we've had a lot of projects come on the town. Obviously, we have the middle school, we have the senior center, we have a new firehouse, the Blackstone Library, and many other things that happen. So, bonding comes on, bonding comes off. At some point, they may say, hey, you know what? Next time we issue a bond, instead of just putting money into the sinking fund, they may go that route. So that's a decision that gets made between the Board of Finance, the finance director, and the other decision makers at that level. Our job is to really explain to them the needs and why, and
keep
really
it on a
that's
reg- and keep it on a reasonable
that's our job.
Yeah.
So
And keep it on a reasonable schedule,
yeah.
so there are no surprises along the way.
Right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is the past catching up with us. Years ago, there was not a good regular replacement schedule, and so all of those apparatus, by the time those apparatus got replaced, some of them had already been refurbed and still had 20 years post-refurb. I mean, so they were old pieces of apparatus. These were the Maxim,
Yeah.
they were over 30 years old, if I remember correctly, a lot of them. Engine 9 started in
The ladder truck was 34 years old before 64 to 88. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Before
So-
that, it was 36 to 64.
So what that did is, 25,
Yeah, so
26, 28
you do the
years
math.
later, you bunch them up again. So
they
we're,
refurbished them
I've been
3
trying
times.
to get them so I can start to spread them out a little bit.
Diesel.
And then, we have to also think about,
80.
I'm scheduling them like everything's going to be the same 5, 10
Yeah.
years from now, but that could change too.
Nice too. Yeah.
All right.
So, Chief, I just had a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So over the last, I want to say, you'll know for sure, 4 or 5 years, when we've been buying ambulances, we've switched to gasoline engines. The engines we had originally the ambulances we had originally were all diesel. Are we finding just the nature of what an ambulance does, and it has to sit there and idle sometimes and for long periods of time, and common knowledge was typically that a diesel engine did a better job of doing that over a gas engine?
And that would be true. However, we're finding in the way that we're rotating these, the cost is we'd be paying a lot up front, and the way we're rotating them now, we're not seeing
Because
any
you're paying a
problems
premium
with
for
it.
the diesel engine.
You're paying a premium.
Right.
You're paying, I think it's like a $10,000 to $15,000 premium on a diesel
Oh,
engine.
okay.
So,
I didn't realize it was that much.
and then, so then we would want to keep that as a cab and chassis and
Yep.
then remount it. And while we have one of those options coming up, these Ford E450 that V10's been working out, there's been a couple of known problems where we'll have to rethread the spark plug. Spark plug will pop out. I believe it's.
Annoying for that.
I'm not a mechanic, but I believe it's like the aluminum head issue with these things.
And it's
But
steel threaded spark plug.
we're still getting. I mean, look at Medic 4's got 175,000. Medic 5's 140,000, and that's a
Yeah.
lot of mileage on
It's
it.
a lot of
It's got a
mileage.
lot more
And
hours.
those are hard miles.
A lot
too.
more hours on the engine than the mileage.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Danny, who really he's the guy that works on all this stuff. He is pretty pleased with the E450s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the other thing is we've been able to do a lot of, because we're kind of keeping everything the same, we can stock parts here and not have to have such a variety
that's
of
great.
stock parts.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of the same. So we're either kind of in the Ford and Chevy for most of our vehicles, except for the larger,
Right, right.
obviously, fire pumpers. And it's served us pretty good. All of our stuff is coming in this is another example of how this department has a different philosophy with maybe some other departments. We haven't spent a lot of money in paint. Paint on even a smaller vehicle like this would be an $8,000 option. It's Ford Race Red. It's close to the same color as the Pierce Puck downstairs. So we decided that everything's going to be Ford Race Red downstairs. With all these things, we're not paying for paint jobs, which is, again, I think it's a way to save money and keep things somewhat affordable.
That's great.
That's good. Yep. Good job.
Okay, I'm done now.
All right, leave me alone. All right, EMS, Commissioner Fox.
Okay. All right, the year-to-date ambulance revenue is $852,181 already.
Oh my God.
Already.
I think we'll do a million.
Is that from July? Yeah.
That's from July,
Not even a half a year
July
yet.
1st. Yeah, July 1st.
July 1st.
Yep.
Last year's schedule.
There were 1,943 EMS incidents from July 1 to November 20, resulting in 1,511 transports to area hospitals, 78% transport to 22 non-transport. So there's the wear and tear on the ambulances.
Yeah, how many
You
miles?
can, you can disregard that typo on that left. This is a cut and paste thing. That next bullet point
Yes,
doesn't exist anymore.
that was that Sandy Bagucki, right?
That's Sandy,
And that's
yeah.
Sandy receiving the Quidley Award given by the Connecticut State EMS Council for her outstanding work
Wow, that's great.
supporting and
Congratulations
medical
to her.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
congratulations
awesome.
to
Big,
her. Yes. So that's it for the EMS.
Is she gonna stay on with us or what?
She's got another couple of years. She's doing a different project for Yale now, but it's in the same realm.
Yep.
So she's going to be more available to us than she has been in the last couple of years.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
Yeah,
as long as she still has her hospital affiliation, then that covers her
Yes.
her liability costs as a doctor, and,
Yep.
and we get the benefit of that here. So
Are we gonna give her a little party?
we're hoping to.
Yeah.
We are. We're because of her not quite retirement yet. We're still up in the air on
Okay,
when that's going to
that's
be,
good.
but we certainly will let everybody know.
Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
Been a lot. Okay, Buildings Commissioner Kafora, I can report Alf here today. I went to the meeting today. Well, actually, it was yesterday, so we have our Station 9. Well, I want to know about it. Pretty soon.
I stopped down there just to check it out.
I know, Buzz, I see you there. Trust me, I
let
know
you
that.
They let you in?
She actually double parks illegally, you know. I got Barney Fife coming in to get her, but no. Actually, it's coming along good. We had our punch list meeting yesterday, so it's in pretty good shape. And we're hoping by, right after the sign should be up between
I was gonna ask you.
the
yeah.
Wednesday and Friday of Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So, they'll
That's
say
the
Firehouse on
pink
it.
strip across the front.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where the signs
exactly,
go.
yes, yeah.
I still haven't figured out where
When would that
everybody's
be
gonna
at?
park, though.
Oh, no, the parking's fine. It's all gonna be aligned, and John the super was out there marking things
There's,
out.
if you're looking at the building,
Wait, it's over to the right.
yeah, there's
just like-
four spots over
No,
to
to the
right.
left.
There's,
No,
you're right.
Yeah, to the left, by the
yes, to
package
le-
store.
If you're looking at it, if you're looking at the apparatus bay on the package store side, there's 4 spots right there. And then on the other one, there's 9 spots, not including the handicap.
When's it gonna be
jeez.
open
Oh,
or in service?
It's more parking than.
Well,
they
they're
can
hoping to
afford.
park the truck there by the weekend after Thanksgiving or by December 2nd.
Okay.
They should be in service.
Okay, good.
So, because we want to make sure the floor is all going to be intact, good, everything looks good. So,
Will we have a dedication?
yeah, well, yeah. That's,
Yeah, we need to plan the actual date, but we talked about sometime in mid-December, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Just
I think
when
the
all
neighborhood would really.
the neighborhood's looking
Looking
forward.
forward to
My neighborhood has asked me multiple times.
Yeah,
'cause
my
they'd like to
neighborhood
get-
does too.
I never walked on lawn like I did because it was fishnet. Just dragged behind me though. We had to do that because, but we have like a little punch list stuff, so we're working on. But it looks really good though.
We-
it looks like headquarters.
We pushed off any landscaping until
Yeah.
the spring.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it was past that
Past the
point.
planting season.
And then
In terms of our budget, we're right there. We're right on budget.
Good.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, so we are looking to put some field stone on the
and,
building.
I feel, as I mentioned in my report, that the building, I think, is something that will serve the town really well and everybody
yeah.
can be very proud of for a long, long time.
It's built
to come.
well.
So it really is built
It's
well.
really built well. Yeah.
Does it have a basement?
No.
No, the basement is the apparatus, but you got to.
Yeah. I got a
It had one.
It's a flood zone, Commissioner. Buzz, I will tell you this. I did the punch list up in the attic.
It had one.
Up in the attic?
There's an attic.
There is-
I went up there and did the punch list, and I told
Okay.
them clean it. Because I said, that's where you're going to put all your record files.
Because
In the
the
attic.
first time I ever went in that building, I had a heart attack.
Yeah.
They take me, and it had a basement, the old building had a
I
basement.
know. Well,
Oh, my God.
yeah, you have the basement now. It's the apparatus bay.
But,
Yes.
but over the years, see, they had such a water problem, so they never used the basement. I mean,
Well, it's because it was.
It's
full of
well
water.
built, trust me when I tell you that, right? So I can tell you.
Very well built.
Everything's well built, all the utilities are up high, so it's built for the
So we-
future.
So we should be good.
I could
for
see
the
100
next
years
flood
from
down
now, the
there.
building should still be there,
Good.
unless you have it.
It sure looks great.
Yeah, it does. It
driving
really
down
fits in
South Monterey
the
Street,
neighborhood, yeah.
looking at it.
So,
It does.
I will have the
look even better
nickname.
after we talk.
I know what you're gonna hit me up with.
I know
I
we
get
are.
it. I get
That's
it.
why I'm over here for you.
All right.
all right, are we coming along with getting stuff for upstairs now?
Yeah, we're working on everything. Yep, it's all coming along. Yep,
Well, let
we're
me know
good.
if I can help.
Yeah, we're in good
And
shape.
stone is going up.
Just, in the spring, the flowers. We could take care of that.
Thin stone.
Good idea.
Thin stone.
Okay.
Good. Perfect.
Good. Yep.
We want to do, that's kind of the last.
So we need some field stone
The last,
to put on the applique on the outside, so we want to work on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
The
we're.
lower part that is currently all concrete is designed to have natural field stone, thin stone placed on it. We've already got prices from, we beat up one of the local vendors. We got prices to actually buy the material. And once that's on there, it'll tie it in really nice with the entire neighborhood. Because if you notice down there, the old Indian X Stables is that same base.
Right, right.
Most of the
right.
chimneys down there are field
Yeah,
stone,
they
some of the
are.
foundations, so that should really make it pop down there.
Yeah,
Good.
and my
Across from
cupola.
the- across from the-
And my cupola.
Across from the Freaky Tiki.
Yeah. And my cupola.
And the cupola.
In your pair.
Yeah, it's all coming along. They got it. Anything else, Commish? Or anything on buildings?
No.
Anything else? No, everything else is good on
Everything
buildings,
else
pretty
is
good.
good.
Yeah.
The new town GGB, Brian Droney, is, he's been very good, so.
Did you want to put up about 56, a new tower going up, part of our
Oh.
building committee, that, which no one probably
Yeah,
never
so that's
knows,
probably,
so probably a good idea, that.
So the state's radio tower at exit 56, they have approval to put a radio tower out there. It had passed through the bond commission and a purchase order has been issued. So that project is happening. It's part of the state police backbone. That's a weak area for them, but because of them, we're getting a place that covers a weak area for us. So they're going to provide space not only on the tower, but in an air-conditioned
Okay.
building, and it's backed up by generator, so it'll give us some communications redundancy that we did not have before. And we have the radio sinking fund. It's not 100% funded to complete our entire project out there. Our entire project includes police, fire, and public works, which is the backup for both. So once that'll just be part of our continuing budget. We've been talking about it every year, and
Where will it be?
at the state garage, DOT garage.
Oh, sure.
Right at 56, right in
Yeah,
Midtown.
right, yeah.
Is that gonna
Makes
be,
sense, yeah.
did you say a repeater for the state police?
Yes, one of their
You
repeaters.
have to hear their calls now.
Oh, yeah.
See?
I hear them all now, but, okay, good. All right, Commissioner Clem, pensions, communications.
Pensions, everything is quiet. We're coming down to the end of the year. It will be interesting to see how the numbers come in this year. Every year when we do the run reports in the January, February, I'm always trying to stay optimistic that we keep our volunteers. But unfortunately, every year it gets a little less and a little less. And so I'll keep my fingers crossed that we're staying where we are. But yeah, we'll get together sometime in late January, early February to check all the numbers and stuff. So but that's it.
Okay, very good. Chief?
Everything's been going smoothly. There's been a lot of training that's been going on through all kinds of various training with the police, Board of Education, and the fire department to integrate any of issues that we may have with our school systems. We've done some emergency management training as a town. We had participated in the statewide exercise this past Monday. It's the governor's annual exercise. It was designed as a potential cyber attack, terrorist attack, and some associated stuff. I won't go into too much detail, but it was designed to be able to look at our plans, how we integrate with each other, and then identify any areas of weakness. So from that perspective, it was a success. If you guys don't know, I've been appointed as the emergency management director for the town. We are going to move the emergency management operations center from the police department to the fire department. We have more space here, clearly. This room will be the emergency operations center for the town, and we're going to restrict the use of this room to the commission, the EOC, and then just the RTM caucus and any executive board
Right.
functions,
Yeah.
because we're going to have stuff in here we don't want just everybody to have access to.
Chief, did
So we're gonna have
anything-
screens up here.
Screens are going to replace this stuff. There'll be a screen
Then we're
there,
gonna, we'll move the
screens there.
pictures.
For
Yeah,
what? I mean, screens.
like actual monitors.
For monitor screens. So there's a whole bunch of stuff we
It'll
look
look
at
just
at
like
the
the
same
state
time.
of Connecticut. when you come in.
It'll be so we can put whatever we want to
Yeah.
put up there. So we either be putting cameras up if we want to see what's going on in various areas of town. We can put various split screens with all kinds of the weather information, and then just status screens in just that small storm that we just had the other day with we had some power outages and trees down. The coordination of road closures, streets, wires with the CLP. I see I'm dating myself.
I know, yeah.
EverSource.
And the building
That
set on
communicate.
Mondelez,
That
that's right.
as Trista can appreciate it can be complex, and getting valued information to the right people at the right time and getting that information back to the public it's important. And so you need that coordination that the Emergency Operations Center provides. So
Okay.
all of that stuff's going on. Other than that, we've been busy. Branford Fire Department, 2,476 calls from July 1st to date. And interestingly, we're back to Medical Monday being our busiest day. And 1 o'clock p.m. is the busiest hour for the department. So this period since our last meeting in September to now, we haven't had any real crazy or noteworthy incidents. It's all been routine, averaging 17 a day. So we're still just busy doing everything. And that includes
just
motor
17.
vehicles,
17
brush
a day.
fires.
17.
We had 2 brush fires in a single night that threatened buildings. Parkside 1 on Montauk Street, it got up the siding a little bit. Well, we got there quick, and there was a shed, a she shed, they tell me, out on Florence Road.
Is
That
a she shed?
it's like a
It's a
man
she shed.
cave,
See
but
the
it's for
commercial?
women.
I see, that's what I'm asking.
That's what the she shed is.
Because
So-
they're going to he's going to your she shed's on fire. What's a she shed?
No, it's a she shed.
There is a shed.
Now that I know, it's like a man cave, I get it.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
So
For a woman.
But it's not, yeah.
I'm happy to report that, you know, all the new personnel are doing great. They're doing what we had hired them to do. They're
Good.
giving us that stretchability
Yeah.
that we need. We're getting some training done. At the same time, we're busy as usual. The revenue's coming in because we're getting the ambulances calls done. Our volunteers continue to do a great job, and you know, I can't ask for too much more than that.
Great.
It's a very busy department. So, yeah, good job. Job by all. Okay, Assistant Chief Effernan is off tonight. He's out at school or something tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Old business, nothing?
Nothing, no.
Actually,
we do?
did you want to discuss the request from Company 9? Now that we have the
that's
additional.
Oh, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, we
Oh,
should
yeah,
do it. Yeah, we
let's-
know exactly what they want.
Yes.
So,
Well, between the two of us, we both know. Yeah, you could do it.
we,
Yeah, we talked about it before.
yeah, so the request came back, well, what exactly was
Right.
was it that they were intending to do to dedicate it to past Chief Peter Mullen?
Oh, right.
And, you know, what they're gonna do is they want to, just to dedicate a plaque that on the station, that this station is dedicated in memory. And so we're gonna get one that matches. They're gonna kind of match the building plaque with the dedication plaque, maybe put them on both sides of the door. We haven't 100% agreed on everything yet, or the design, but that's the gist of it.
Oh, that's
So,
It's the size of the plaque when you walk in headquarters,
Yeah.
so we looked at it already. The left was gonna be the building committee, and then the right for Chief Mullen, we were gonna have over there. And it's the size of what we have already here now.
Right.
So if you look at what we have here, just change, you know, Turner to Pioneer, and maybe take off Janus, all the same players, basically,
Yeah.
building committee. So, and then Chief Mullins, and then we're gonna list from, he started as lieutenant to captain, drill master, deputy chief. That's what it was for.
Okay.
Nice.
To honor him for that down
Very
there,
nice.
for his
Very nice.
dedication he did down there, so.
Yes.
Need to add that to the agenda, Trista? To
Yeah,
accept that?
motion to
Yeah,
add and then.
Yeah, I
motion
can
to
make a
approve.
motion that we add that to the agenda to,
I'll second that.
yep. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Now, we'll
Okay.
do that the same day that we have the official.
Yeah, exactly. So it may take a little bit of time
Time to
because
get all that
we're
together.
trying to work on doing these plaques to work in before we go and put the plaques on the building and put stone around them. We're trying to work them in together, to
Okay.
integrate it together so to make it all look good. So, I make a motion that we accept Company 9's to dedicate the naming of the building for Chief Peter F. Mullen.
Second.
So moved.
Okay.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so voted. So it's still gonna remain Indian Neck Fire Company 9.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Serving Indian Neck, Pine Orchard, town of Brantford.
okay.
That's not gonna change. That stays the same. You're gonna see that big sign go up, Buzz.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, we want your car parked. You actually can park now in the driveway. Okay.
Well, I thought it was over to the side. You
Yeah, I know. No, you're okay. And last we have on new business is, thanks for bringing it up, Chief. Letter from Captain Petrosino regarding the deputy chief exam. He requested that it be extended. So as I did forward that letter on to everybody. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about on that? Do any more research on?
Yeah, I was just curious as to why was he asking for it to be extended? I mean,
I believe, and I can't speak for
oh, here.
Captain Mullen, or Captain Petrosino. I believe, you know, people put a lot of work into this in studying and
Yeah.
you know, it's a whole very tedious process. And to have to go through all that whole process again, you know, I think
Okay,
is,
that makes sense,
you know,
yeah.
you've been through it so many times that, you know, he just wants to ensure, I believe, and again, he's not here to speak for himself, but his letter should, that he's already done that process, and there's the process took place, and based on, we've historically had the commission has had the ability to extend year to year. And so I don't know, beyond my tenure with the Brantford Fire Department, most processes have been 2 years, but there's nothing that's set in stone. So
Yeah, I don't ever recall us being asked to extend it for some reason or other. But
well, whenever we announce it, it's the process and the list that comes of the process is good for a minimum of 1 year, with the ability, it always says the ability of the commission to extend it. And I think that the reason that some places have longer lists and some places don't is simply because of the expense that a department such as the city of New Haven has to even administer a test. And it's a civil service, so once you rank, you're there, and then when they get down to you, that's how it is. This has always been an entirely different, in that time frame, you may have other people that become eligible, and they go through the process. So it's up to you.
Do we have a past practice on this?
I think we've had a past practice of extending it at least to the 2 years.
Yeah, we definitely go into we definitely extend to an additional year. We have. We have on firefighter exams, definitely have.
I know we did the firefighter.
But have we ever done it with for a deputy chief position though? Because I mean that's
Well, we don't have a lot of history with deputy
I
chief
don't
positions,
recall.
but if we just look at the process is, had the ability to extend it beyond that. And when we look into the ranks right now and where everything is and where everybody is, who's ready to move up, other than, so it's, whatever process we do is
So we're looking-
that's when it sets precedent, right? So
Well, his request was to extend it to an additional,
How many years?
he could say 3, we could say 2. If it's beyond 1, that's what he's asking for. If you could
Yeah,
look
he just
beyond
wanted
1
to
year,
extend it
because
for
what
the
he's
1
saying is
So that means it would be just the list that's existing. We
Yes.
couldn't go out to any outside.
That's the question I wanted to
Yeah.
ask. So
Okay.
if you extend this list, if somebody else becomes eligible in that time frame, can they take an exam?
no.
So we're essentially closing,
Well,
the exam.
so we've
Yeah.
had the process happened.
yeah.
And in that, it's just the time frame where
Yeah.
anybody who hasn't been in that process is locked out.
Okay.
And it's the same thing for an entry-level job,
Yeah.
The list is good, we'll keep working off this list for a year, maybe 2 if we want to, and then we get rid of it. Promotion, the same thing. We've had the opportunity to, if I'm recalling correctly, the notification that we send out is that the process that they are undertaking right now, once the list of eligible candidates is generated from it, that it is good for 1 year a minimum, with the ability to be extended by the commission.
So how many?
And I believe it was for an additional year, but I would have to go back.
And how close
to
to we are the end of the year?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
I
I think we
wonder-
need some more information before we vote on this.
Yeah, I do too. I think,
You want to table it until the
Yeah.
next meeting?
I have a motion.
Is that acceptable to everyone, to table it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we need a motion to table it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll make that motion.
You'll make, okay, I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sure to get the answers to the questions that you asked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. So we need to know that
yeah.
date, yeah. So what's the date of, I think it's right around now, I believe, the tenure is. It's, if I remember, in my mind is,
If I remember, last December is when we made.
yeah, it's coming up pretty
So-
close.
It'll be at least
So,
another year.
Yeah, we'll be able to at least keep that in the date.
I think Deputy Chief Karpovich was sworn in December of last year. if I
Yeah, I
remember.
believe you're right, yeah, so I think it was right around that time, so it's still gonna be within the realm that we can look at that and keep that, okay?
You are selling new business?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a few things. It's been a very difficult, very busy year and a half for me. That's why I haven't been
Congratulations.
here a lot, probably a little bit longer than
You
that.
just don't like us, that's all.
No, it's not that. I walked off the court, I still got my clothes.
I know,
on.
yeah, you are, yeah.
And, I was at Cheshire Academy today, and, my brother, I was his campaign manager, and
Yeah,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you. It just seems like it's one thing after another. It seems that the slower part of my day is when I'm at work. And my busy part of the day starts afterwards. I've been here a long time. I was here when Chief Ahern was the interim, and what was that, about 16?
2001, yeah. Yeah.
So 18
years now, yeah.
Oh my God, has it been
And,
that long?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I've worked with the most professional group of people that I've ever worked with, doing anything that I've ever done. I've been around the fire service since 1987, and this kind of filled the void when I couldn't do the job anymore. It really did fill the void for me. I'm not gonna put in for another term. I can't put the time into it that it deserves, that this taxpayers deserve. I enjoyed my time with you guys, I really did.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you. Al.
appreciate
Yeah,
your knowledge,
we're gonna
Al.
miss you.
Listen, I might not have been here, but I was here in spirit,
Yeah, you always were, don't worry, yeah, you were.
It sounds kind of funny, but my makeup is to be committed, and that's what I was talked to. I know I talked to Bobby a couple
Yeah.
times, talked to Buzz a couple times, and I just took pride in a lot of things that we did, things that I was part of. Every time I drive by the building,
You were part of a lot of it here, so,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
built a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
stuff here.
Well, I can say in
Yeah.
the time I've been chief, whether you've been at a meeting or not, anything I've ever needed from any of you, but,
Yeah.
certainly
I
Al,
appreciate
whenever,
you reaching out to me.
any time I asked, you were there with advice and support, so
No,
that's great.
You were talking about the ladder truck. Is that the truck that was up?
2008,
We
the
drove
Schmiel.
outside the yellow building over there, the senior, we were all outside in
Yeah.
the middle of the night.
Yeah, we did, yeah. That was on 2008.
It's been a long time
I
ago.
remember
Yeah, remember that? Okay, we're buying it.
I remember that really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you guys, and,
We're
Yeah.
gonna miss
We
you
will
too,
too.
Al.
the citizens of Branford are very lucky to have all you guys. on
Well, I
this-
will say,
on
well,
this
thank
board.
you, but,
Thank
Very lucky to have Chief Mahoney as chief, and to have the best fire department in the state of Connecticut.
yeah, thank
And
you.
I just, want to tell you that I'm going to finish my term out. Not exactly
Yeah.
sure when it ends. If it ends in
January.
it ends January.
Buzz knows.
He's Buzz.
Buzz, go easy, right?
Oh, right, TikTok.
No, we go together, though.
I'll
See,
do
we-
my best.
Oh.
But I'm gonna,
Public Relations
I haven't emailed First Selectman Jamie Cosgrove yet, but I will.
Yeah, okay.
And, I'll put together a letter, and I just thank you for having me.
Well,
and
thank
I
you
miss
for your
guys.
time and
Yeah,
dedication,
thank
because
you.
listen, you've been a big part
It
of,
would have been nice to make 20, but
everything
I know,
here. You're almost there,
I came
Well,
close.
if we can get somebody to fill the spot for you.
I will
Yeah.
say one thing about our board, and I know we're still on the meeting here, is that this board is not made up of parties. It's made up
No.
of citizens that are truly into the public safety of the Branford Fire Department, the town of
Absolutely.
Branford,
Yeah.
and the people. So that's really what's about, the public.
It was always
This has
what-
been a great board.
Yeah.
I got to say.
In my time here,
Yeah.
it was always what was right.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's all we, that's
Not
how we do it,
politically
It was
right.
never political.
It was,
Yeah.
never one
Never,
time.
never, ever.
Never one
No.
time in the 18 years, and I can say that with a straight face, it was
Always
always what was
Yeah.
right.
It was
It's
right.
true.
Yeah.
That's what I've
So-
always said to people when you walk in that
I
room. You
would- I
have
know-
no idea.
I
don't.
would-
If you didn't know
I
who
wouldn't be here if it
was in
wasn't,
the
and I know
political
none of
party,
you
you
would be
wouldn't
here
know.
if it wasn't that way.
That doesn't matter, right? That's what we say,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
We're here for one thing, that's
Yeah.
good. We're gonna miss you, Al.
Yeah.
We know I can get you though. I can still put coach in, you get it, boom, I do my email.
If you guys need anything,
Yeah,
you
you
know
know.
how to reach me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
I'm not going anywhere, I'm
Yeah.
still staying in Branford.
All right.
But what
Okay.
will
Alright.
you be doing when you're not here with us, though? I mean, come on.
helping his
Oh.
brother.
You're gonna be
He's still
doing-
working with all the kids, doing all the basketball.
Yeah,
Look at him.
basketball stuff.
Between
He
basketball.
came right from Cheshire right to here. Yeah.
Between,
So-
I run around every year. The kids stay the same age, and I get a year older.
Yeah.
They're always 17 and 18 years old.
Class of 76, Al, right? Yeah, right, you know?
That's the
Right.
running line. They stay
Yeah.
the same age every year, and I get a year older.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time you
Yeah,
served
thanks,
for us.
Al.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Al.
that, thank you.
We will miss you.
And maybe you
Yes.
have to still come to the last meeting, like, you know, because I don't think they appoint until January, so.
Okay.
You're not out yet. You're gonna still be on the
We can always
emails.
have a special December meeting, for heaven's sake.
You
We
gonna
don't
bake,
know what
hey, you
yet.
gonna
We
bake
have to
something?
make sure we have something.
You gonna bake something?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Al, she's
Yeah.
gonna bake
All
something
right.
for your last meeting.
Thank you, Al. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.